Cody here for Twinstiq.com, letting you know if you should check out Invisible Ink. This will not be a scored review, but instead a close look at what the game offers, and if it's the kind of game that you would like to play. A quick disclaimer before we get started, I did purchase an alpha copy of this game back when it was called Incognita, giving me early access to the alpha as well as this launch version of the game. If you think that my backing of Invisible Ink's development may have an influence over my review, then please keep that in mind as you watch. With that out of the way, let's take a look at Invisible Ink.
Be sharp, this drone's been taken out.
Developed by Klei Entertainment, the same people who brought us Mark of the Ninja and Don't Starve, Invisible Ink is what Klei describes as a turn-based tactical espionage game. To Klei's credit, however, I can't really describe this game's core as being either a stealth or a strategy game. Instead, Invisible Ink offers a unique experience that finally walks the middle ground between both genres. Whether or not this is a good thing, or if the game walks confidently down that line, is going to be up to individual players who will decide for themselves. This game is not for everyone, but for those of us who love both genres and want to check out something that plays nothing like either of them, Invisible Ink does not disappoint. After completing the tutorial level, players are presented with a vast array of choices and game modes to create their own invisible experience. In addition to standard difficulty modes, Invisible Ink goes far beyond a few steps further in providing a great deal of options for those who want to create their own custom game settings or attempt some of the game's other challenges such as endless mode or time attack.
Funny. You never strike me as an anthropomorphizing type.
The narrative goal of the game is to collect enough information to take down the agency. This is done by traveling from place to place to collect said information, as well as scout for more gear, money, experience, and other agents to recruit. Traveling to each place takes time off of the world clock. If the clock runs out before you take the agency down, you lose. Agents who are taken down in battle are left permanently dead if you don't manage to revive them or drag their body out of level in time. If you run out of agents to send on missions, you lose. Every step you take is through the use of action points, which are generated every turn. These are used to move characters across tiled maps, interact with the environment, knock out enemies, and most importantly, collect power. Power that you collect throughout these levels can be used by the AI Incognita. Incognita is used to bypass firewalls within the environment, such as cracking open safes, disarming cameras, and lasers. All of these actions require power, and it will make your life much easier while infiltrating a level. Interacting with guards may seem a bit unrealistic at first, as they only spot you within their cone of vision. But with some suspension of disbelief, the system becomes another great piece of the puzzle that is Invisible Ink, as both guards and cameras alike have cones of vision that all have 3 different stages of view. Watched means that the AI will notice you and raise an alarm if you enter said tile. Noticed will draw the attention of a guard or a camera, but will not trigger an alarm, and can be used to lure enemies away from high-profile areas. Unnoticed tiles tend to be behind cover, but can change during the enemy's turn if they decide to investigate something nearby.
Be prepared for new patrol patterns.
But that's not all the trouble that the guards will give you in this game. Guards don't stay knocked out in Invisible Ink. Instead, they are given a knocked out timer. This informs the player how many turns they have until the guard needs to be worried about again. This timer can be paused by having a character end their turn on top of a knocked out guard, effectively pitting them in place, and if all that wasn't enough to worry about, each time you end a turn, you increase the alarm level. The rate at which it raises can be customized, and I foresee many people doing so, because once a new alarm level is reached, something new is usually added to the area, such as harder enemies, more cameras, or possibly worse. This adds a very powerful sense of urgency to get in, grab what's needed, and get out fast. To leave a level, you must find the exit, which is randomly generated somewhere within the level. Fellow agents can be left behind, and objectives can even be ignored if you need to escape quickly. While this encourages players to take their time and choose their actions wisely, it also discourages exploration to an extent, as the more time you spend searching every nook and cranny, the more likely you are to find yourself in a situation that you don't even want to be in to begin with. All of these elements come together confidently to establish that Invisible Ink's stealth and strategy game mechanics are one and the same. But really, this has always been the case for stealth games. While not typically turn-based, a stealth game is a strategy game. You watch guards' patterns, you plan out your next moves ahead of time, and you do your best to flawlessly execute said plans. Invisible Ink knows this, and is able to combine both genres so naturally and confidently that you'll wonder why this hasn't been done before. While I personally feel that the game is a great balance between these two genres, not everybody will, and I would imagine that turn-based strategy game enthusiasts would be more open to Invisible Ink's mechanics than the average stealth gamer. This is simply because you don't normally play stealth games by moving units turn by turn, and that might not be something that people who play a lot of stealth would enjoy doing. But on the flip side, for a stealth lover who has never tried a turn-based strategy game before, this is the perfect introduction to a whole new genre of games that you might just fall in love with as well. For those of you who get stressed out easily or feel anxious around game timers, this game may not be for you. The game's alarm timer is effectively a difficulty timer, and that can add a very real sense of dread, and I found myself stressing out on numerous occasions throughout my playthrough.
I guess we all have our weaknesses.
But again, Invisible Ink is a new game that falls into a niche that we haven't seen before, so it could never have been a game that everyone was going to enjoy. But if you do happen to fall into the niche it's created, then you are in for one hell of a treat.
You've never struck me as particularly charitable.
Invisible Ink is a stealth game where you don't need to think fast, just smart. But it's also a strategy game where the only good decision you'll ever get to make is the best bad decision. So hopefully I've helped you determine if Invisible Ink is right for you, and again, if it interests you, I believe it's fairly priced at $20, has a lot of potential replayability to offer, and is a great challenge. It's definitely worth your time. If you like the basic concepts but aren't sure yet, then watch more videos, do some more research, because I can't stress enough that this is not for everyone. But I would absolutely at least recommend trying the game if you get the chance, or picking it up on a Steam sale, as the experience it offers is unlike anything I've ever played before. The options menu may be a bit lacking for some people, but all the art appears to be 2D, so I'm not really sure if there could have been more to add. I also haven't noticed any bugs or game-breaking errors through my playthrough, and any frustration brought on by the game has been of my own poor choices. I'm signing out by giving Invisible Ink a buy or try. I've had a great deal of fun in the time I've spent playing Invisible Ink, and I look forward to putting even more hours into the game on harder difficulties. Once again, I've been Cody for Twinstiq.com. Go ahead and check us out for all the latest gaming news, and thanks again for watching.